So what exactly did they steal? That was the voice of a very high-priced lawyer. So I was on this phone bridge, and it was pretty tense because this company was having an issue, to say it nicely. And so they were asking me these questions. I was part of this team to help solve what exactly had gone on. And one of them was, what did they take? So I brought out my notes and I said they stole 20 gigabytes of data. They used this program called PSFTP. Here's the username and here's the password and here's where they sent it. And here's a screenshot essentially of your files. Whew. Yeah, they weren't happy to hear it, but they were happy to know the information. And at the end of that very long conversation, I took a breath, I stepped back, I kind of took stock. It's like, I can't believe that this is my life, right? This high-priced lawyer that needed my opinion on something, and they trusted it so much they didn't question it. They're like, yeah, of course she knows what she's doing. Here's the information. So, little background about how that all turned out, by the way. So they, again, were trying to figure out how they got in, what they took, and if they were still there. The short answers were they got in because no one put two-factor authentication on one of the login pages. Ouch. They stole a bunch of data the company had forgot they even had. Most importantly of all, they were still there. They were still in the network doing things. What an honor it is to be here talking to all of you about one of the most exciting topics in my life, quite honestly, STEM and threat hunting. I'm Molly. I'm a professional threat hunter. I've done it for years in all kinds of companies, all kinds of industries. I want to share how I got into STEM. How did I become a threat hunter? How did this even happen? You see, STEM and I, we kind of found each other. And I don't think it was a mistake. Because for me, STEM basically means make things better than they are, right? And we need a lot of that right now. So join me while I talk a little bit more of that pathway, and maybe you'll see a little bit of yourself in the story. 8 years ago, I was working at a Caribou coffee house. And for all of you, it's basically just a normal run-of-your-mill corner store coffee house in Minneapolis, Minnesota. See, I'd recently moved to Minneapolis after losing my job in Colorado as a middle school and high school science teacher. So here I was. I was mopping the floor on a Saturday evening at this coffee house. And it dawned on me, like it usually does on Saturday evening when I closed up shop, that I really didn't want to be doing this exact thing in 5 years. I don't have a computer science degree. I failed calculus and I failed physics, and I love the scientific method. And I get to use it, quite honestly, in the coolest way possible every single day. I mean, I get to hunt hackers, right? You know, those the hoods. It's a little cliche, but it's such a kick. And I get to use some pretty cool tools to do it too. But the most powerful tools really are simple. I just have to use logic. I've got to use critical thinking. And I've got to use compassion because I'm a defender, right? I monitor these networks and these computers to see how they're doing, you know? And if anything shifts or is out of the ordinary, I can tell whether or not there's an attack going on. So now let's talk a little bit about coffee. All right, so Sky Joe would come in every single morning and order a pretty convoluted drink. It wasn't that strange, honestly. It was pretty much espresso, a lot of ice, and a lot of half and half. But the way Joe explained it, you would swear every morning you were making and remaking the Sistine Chapel, because he'd kind of hover right on the bar and look over at you. But he talked a lot too, and he loved technology. So one day he came in with his phone. I was like, cool phone, Joe. And he's like, check it out. And he showed it to me. And I was like, wait a second, that's not an Apple, it's not an Android. What is that? And he said, it's a custom operating system. I can make it do whatever I want. And I was intrigued. And we kept having these conversations. She would share